Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Burning Crusade. Today we are going to be continuing our leveling guide through the Outland by actually covering two regions today, Nagrand and Blades Edge Mountains. The reason I'm lumping these two together is because if you followed the rest of the leveling guide, you know that I've been really focusing on reputation factions as the focus of these videos and where to level so that you can increase your reputation at the same time as getting experience. If you know much about the Outland, you know that in Nagrand and in the Blades Edge Mountains, there aren't many significant reputation factions that play a factor in the quest lines. So I am going to do a brief tour of both these zones, but keep in mind that the reputation factions here, aside from one area in Blades Edge Mountains, are not relevant at all. So here we begin in Nagrand. We're starting off with Talar for the Alliance and Garadar for the Horde. Both of these reputation factions reward... I'm just going to pull up the Alliance one. Oh, what is it called again? The Crusade. That's what it is. So, this transmeat recipe, not that great. Some gear, of course, just like every other faction, but really nothing worth getting too excited over. If you are into the tabulks, if you would like a tabulk mount, then the only way you can get that is from either of these two factions, Kurunai for the Alliance and the... what is it called for the Horde? The Mag'har? Yes, the Mag'har for the Horde. You get quests for these reputation factions at these zones, Talar and Garadar. These two areas are where you'll get most of your quests for that zone, for this zone rather. However, there are a couple other important areas to take a look at when talking about Nagrand. There is, of course, Hala, which is the world PvP zone. On the private server that I play on, due to the fact that it's a private server and the population isn't that high, and it's a worldwide population, so the player base is on the active times for people to be playing is various. There's a prime time in the middle of the day, or at least in my time zone, and then a prime time towards the evening. So that makes it a little harder to get organized things like Hala battles actually happen. So I'm not going to actually spend really any time going over that. However, over here in the northern portion of the map, there is this area called the Laughing Skull Ruins. It is a horde, not a horde, a ogre encampment. And up in here in the back of the Laughing Skull Ruins is what's called the Ring of Blood. At level 65, a quest becomes available from this goblin, I believe, quest giver over here. And the quest is to... it's basically a 5-man single boss quest chain. So you get a group of 5 people, tank, healer, DPS, you know, all that. You come here, you get the quest, it summons a boss, you turn the quest in. Do that, I think, 4 or 5 times, and at the very end you are rewarded with a weapon. It is a very, very good weapon for your class, no matter what class you are, and lots of gold and lots of experience from doing it, and it really doesn't take that long. Excuse me. So that is absolutely worth doing once you hit level 65. Moving on to the northeastern portion of the map, right over here where you can see my cursor pointing towards this tent is Hemet Nessingary Way's camp, and he offers quests to kill large amounts of wildlife all over Nagrand. These quests are really good for experience just because of how many you have to kill. Like for each step of the quest you have to kill like 30 something beasts and then a boss at the end of like 3 or 4 stages. And there are these chains for about 3 or 4 different species of animals here in Nagrand. But obviously the most beneficial aspect of these quests is the fact that every one of these beasts that you have to kill is skinnable. So if you happen to be a skinner or leather worker, then that is the quest. This is what you need to do. You need to get to Nagrand, do the Ring of Blood, and then do these Hemet Nessingary Way quests, because you will make a fortune on leather. That's about it. There are quests, you know, obviously all over this map, and there's a lot of lore backstory as far as Draenor before and after the effects of the Burning Legion and the invasion and the orcs' betrayal of the Draenei, but none of that is really relevant to you and your level 70 endgame progression. So that about covers it for Nagrand. I wouldn't recommend staying here longer than it really takes to do the quests that you want to do here. So if you're a skinner leather worker, just do those quests and don't worry about your level. Do Ring of Blood. It'll probably take you about 66 if you get here at 65. You might finish level 65. You might get further depending on how many quests you decide to do here. But yep, that is about it for Nagrand. Moving on to the Blade's Edge Mountains. And here we are. Now, the Blade's Edge Mountains. Once you get here, there are little pathways that lead up into the mountains through passes from Zangarmarsh. On the left is the Alliance. Oh, come on. The Alliance Orbar Harborage. You take a little tunnel in, and then there's just a tunnel over here north of Telrador for the Horde. That both lead up to Sylvanar for the Alliance and Thunderlord Stronghold for the Horde. These are your main quest zones for your respective factions in the Blade's Edge Mountains. But the main area that you should focus on in the Blade's Edge Mountains is, of course, Ruan Weald, a little Cenarian expedition town called Evergrove. Now, if you are not a class that needs Cenarian expedition reputation, then you should already at this point have Honored. So these are great questing opportunities for sure, but you wouldn't need to do that if you don't need any reputation past Honored. So here we are. This quest chain basically involves you fighting these the black dragonflight sort of faction that survived in the Outlands after Nefarian had left, and every little black dragon that Gruul, the dragon killer, didn't kill. As you can see, as you fly around or run around the Blade's Edge Mountains, there are many impaled black dragonflight dragons here. I don't know all the lore behind all that, but I do know Nefarian did come out to the Outland and lay some eggs or something. But yep, this is the Cenarian Expedition questing zone in Blade's Edge Mountains, and the final questing zone that you'll get for that faction before you hit level 70, so that is worth mentioning. Another important kind of faction here in the Blade's Edge Mountains is this faction of ogres over here that inhabit ogri'la. Now, I have never farmed reputation for that faction because the rewards really aren't that great, and they require a separate currency other than gold, which is Apexis crystals, not to be confused with the Warlords of Draenor Apexis crystals. They drop from mobs, generally up in this outer rim of Blade's Edge Mountains, and unless I'm mistaken, you do have to have a flying mount to get up into these zones, so not even really worth trying to do until after level 70. And at level 70, there are much better uses of your time than grinding ogri'la reputation. So honestly, you don't need any of that. I mean, if you get super bored way down the line and you're in full Sunwell gear, then yeah, sure, check out ogri'la, but not while you're leveling, or not while you're trying to gear up a level 70. No dungeons here. There is Gruul's Lair, which is just north of the Ruan Weald and Evergrove. I have actually a video of a Gruul's Lair run that I might release just for fun, along with this video, but I don't know, we'll see. That is about it. Once you get past level 65 and you've already been exposed to the Alders and Scryers, and you already have honor reputation with honor holder Thrallmar, the Cenarian Expedition, and Lower City, then really you're free to do really whatever you want until you get to around level 68. Level 68, you do start getting some opportunities to quest for the Alders and Scryers in Netherstorm and Shadowmoon Valley, and also that is when your high-end normal dungeons kick in, dungeons that share a lot of loot with heroic dungeons. So between you finishing the Terakar Forest reputation and starting Netherstorm and Shadowmoon Valley at level 68, you really have free play of the world to really do whatever you want. So I'm not giving Blade's Edge Mountains and Nagrand that much time, even though you will spend a lot of time questing in these areas. But yeah, it is important to keep that in mind, that at this point in your leveling process, you don't really need to worry about much, except for the Caverns of Time, which I will make a separate video for. It'll be a short video, and then I'll just probably make some videos of the dungeons on heroic difficulty, so you guys don't get too bored. Alright, that is about it for me today. I will see you all next time. Feel free to push all the buttons and watch again and again and again and again, since I know how much you all must love hearing my voice. Have a great day.